Commander Tom Wilson stood at the viewport of Earth Central Station, watching alien ships zoom past without safety buffers. He sighed. Even after 50 years in the galactic community, humans were still seen as the weaklings of space. "Commander Wilson, you are requested at the briefing room," the station AI announced. Tom straightened his blue uniform and marched down the corridor. Aliens of various shapes and sizes moved aside, some whispering as he passed. "Look, a human. Always wearing those bulky safety suits. I heard they run simulations 20 times before any mission." Tom kept his face blank. He had heard it all before. Humans were called the turtles of space, slow, cautious, and always hiding in their shells. What the aliens called cowardice, humans called common sense. The briefing room doors slid open. Admiral Kate Jones stood at the head of the table, her gray hair pulled back tightly. "Wilson, take a seat," she said, nodding to the empty chair. 5 other officers sat around the table, all human. No aliens today. That was unusual. A distress signal was received 6 hours ago. Admiral Jones began, pressing a button. A hologram appeared showing a space station surrounded by a strange purple haze. Research Station Delta 9 on the edge of the quantum void. No response to communications since the initial SOS. "What were they researching?" asked Tom. "Ancient alien technology," the Admiral replied. "Potentially dangerous. That's all we know." Jack Foster, head of operations, leaned forward. "The signal has been broadcast across all galactic channels. No response from any non-human species." Tom wasn't surprised. The aggressive Creole would consider a rescue mission without glory beneath them. The proud Verax wouldn't risk their ships for others. The logical Tellurians would calculate the odds and deem it inefficient. "The Galactic Council has officially labeled it a high-risk, low-reward scenario," Admiral Jones continued. "In other words, not worth saving." "But there are 15 researchers on that station," said Lisa Chen, intelligence officer. 8 humans, 7 aliens. "Precisely why Earth Command has decided to respond," said the Admiral. "We're sending one ship, the ESV Prudence." Tom sat up straighter. The Prudence was his ship. "Commander Wilson, you will lead this rescue mission," Admiral Jones said. "Your caution and thoroughness are exactly what's needed." "The very things they mock us for," Tom said quietly. "Yes," the Admiral agreed. "The Council representatives actually laughed when I informed them of our decision." The Creole ambassador said, and I quote, "Of course, the humans would respond with excessive caution to a situation requiring immediate bravery." The room fell silent. "When do we leave?" Tom asked finally. 800 tomorrow. Select your crew carefully, Commander." As the meeting ended, Tom walked quickly to his quarters. He had a mission to plan and a crew to choose. His personal communicator beeped. A message from his friend Zorn. "A Tellurian. Heard about your mission to Delta 9. The message read, "Statistically unwise. Calculation shows 82.6% probability of failure. Reconsider." Tom smiled grimly. This was why humans were different. They didn't just run when the numbers looked bad. By midnight, he had his crew. Jack Reeves as tactical officer, Dr. Lisa Morgan for science, Marcus Reed for engineering, and Anna Torres as medic. All experienced, all careful, all human. The next morning, the ESV Prudence prepared for launch. From the command deck, Tom watched other ships pass by, their crews pointing and sometimes laughing at the human vessel with its extra shielding and backup systems. "Final pre-launch checklist complete," announced Jack. "All systems triple-checked. Course plotted with safety margins," added Lisa. Tom nodded and took his seat. "Take us out, slow and steady." As the Prudence pulled away from the station, a Creole battleship roared past, deliberately close. "Cowards," came the transmission from the Creole ship. Tom didn't respond. Let them laugh now. In space, the cautious survived. The ESV Prudence moved steadily toward the darkness beyond, carrying the only crew brave enough to be called cowards. The ESV Prudence moved through space at what other species would call a crawl. Commander Tom Wilson preferred to call it deliberate progress. Approaching the Scarlet Nebula, "Sir," announced Jack from the tactical station. "Most ships go through at full speed." Tom nodded. "And how many ships have been damaged by the nebula's unpredictable energy bursts?" 17 in the past year alone, replied Lisa, studying her science console. "Mostly Creel and Verax vessels. They consider slowing down undignified." "Well, we'll keep our dignity intact by arriving in one piece," Tom said. "Marcus, reduce speed by 30%. Lisa, start mapping the energy patterns." The red clouds of the nebula loomed ahead, beautiful and deadly. While other ships would blast through in minutes, the Prudence would take hours, carefully navigating the safest path. "I'm detecting an energy signature inside the nebula," Lisa said suddenly. "It's a ship, damaged and drifting." Tom leaned forward. "Life signs. Faint. 4 survivors. They're Braltec." The Braltec were a reptilian species known for their aggressive tactics and love of speed. They considered humans barely worth acknowledging. "Set course to intercept," Tom ordered. "Anna, prepare the medical bay for possible radiation exposure." Jack looked up from his console. "Sir, this will delay our mission by at least 5 hours." "I'm aware. But we don't leave anyone behind, even those who would leave us." The Prudence changed course, approaching the damaged Braltec vessel with caution. Through the viewport, Tom could see the scarred hull and shattered engines. The Braltec ship had clearly raced into the nebula at full speed, just as their culture demanded. "They're hailing us," Jack said, sounding surprised. A reptilian face appeared on the screen, scales singed and eyes narrowed in pain. "Human vessel. We require assistance." "This is Commander Wilson of the ESV Prudence. We're preparing to dock and evacuate your crew," the Braltec commander hissed. "You will tow our ship to the nearest station." Tom shook his head. "Your ship's core is unstable. Towing isn't safe. We evacuate your crew or we leave." The Braltec's yellow eyes widened at the human's firmness. After a moment, he nodded. Docking with the damaged vessel took 40 careful minutes. Other species would have rushed, locked onto the ship in seconds. The human approach was different, slow, methodical, safe. As the Braltec crew boarded, they looked around with obvious disdain at the human ship's multiple backup systems and safety features. "So many redundancies," sneered one. "So much fear." Anna Torres led them to the medical bay, ignoring the comments. The Braltec were covered in burns and radiation sores. The price of their bravery. "Why are humans in this sector?" demanded the Braltec commander as Anna treated his wounds. "Responding to a distress call from Research Station Delta 9, Tom replied. The Braltec laughed, a harsh sound. "The station near the quantum void. We received that signal. No glory in such a rescue, so we declined." "We're not looking for glory," Tom said simply. Later, as the Prudence continued its careful journey, Tom found the Braltec commander watching the humans work. "Your crew triple-checks everything," the alien observed. "Is this the human way?" "Yes," Tom answered. "We call it being thorough. We call it wasting time." Tom gestured to the viewport, where the nebula's energy flared violently. "That burst would have hit us if we'd been traveling at the speed your people prefer." The Braltec was silent for a moment. "Perhaps. There are times when caution has merit." By the time the Prudence emerged from the nebula, the Braltec crew had stopped making snide comments. They watched quietly as Marcus ran another systems check, as Lisa mapped their approach to the station, as Jack tested the shields one more time. When the dark shape of Research Station Delta 9 finally appeared ahead, surrounded by swirling purple energy, the Braltec commander stood beside Tom on the bridge. "I would wish you good fortune," the alien said, "but I see now that humans make their own luck, step by careful step." Tom smiled slightly. "That might be the nicest thing a Braltec has ever said to a human." The commander snorted. "Do not expect it to become common." As the Prudence approached the silent station, Tom knew the real challenge was just beginning. But for the first time, he felt that perhaps humanity's caution might start to earn respect, not mockery. Research Station Delta 9 hung in space like a broken toy. Parts of its outer ring were dark and damaged. The purple haze surrounding it pulsed in strange patterns. No response to hails, Jack reported from his station. Tom studied the station on the main screen. "Lisa, what are those energy readings?" Lisa frowned at her console. "Unknown, sir, but I'm detecting organic particles in the haze. Something biological is mixed with the energy field." The Brawltech commander, still aboard the Prudence, hissed, "If there is an unknown biological threat, we should destroy the station from a distance. That would be the smart approach." "That would also kill any survivors," Tom replied firmly. "We're going in." Anna Torres stepped onto the bridge. "Sir, I've prepared isolation suits for the away team." Tom nodded. "Good. We'll need them." "You waste time with such precautions," the Brawltech said. "A brave crew would dock immediately, and possibly bring back an unknown pathogen to their ship," Marcus added, entering with 4 bulky white suits. "No thanks." For the next hour, the Prudence circled the station, scanning every inch. The humans mapped entry points, checked radiation levels, and created a detailed plan. The Brawltech watched with impatience that slowly turned to reluctant interest. "You are very thorough," the alien commander finally said. "We try to be," Tom replied. "Lisa, what have you found?" Lisa looked up from her station. The station was researching ancient technology, as we knew. But according to these scans, they were specifically studying a weapon. "What kind of weapon?" asked Jack. "Biological. And it targets brain patterns associated with aggression and quick decision-making." A heavy silence fell over the bridge. Tom glanced at the Brawltech, whose species was known for exactly those traits. "That's why no aggressive species answered the distress call," Tom said slowly. "Their instincts told them to stay away." "And why humans were the only ones who could respond," Lisa added. "Our brains work differently. We're naturally more cautious, more deliberate." "You're saying our cowardice is protecting us?" Jack asked. "I'm saying our careful approach might be an advantage here." Tom turned to the Brawltech commander. "You should remain on the ship. Your species would be particularly vulnerable to this weapon." For once, the alien didn't argue. The away team prepared meticulously. Their isolation suits were triple-checked. Each team member carried backup oxygen, multiple tools, and emergency beacons. Other species would have considered it excessive. Humans called it being prepared. "Docking complete," Marcus announced as the Prudence connected to the station's least damaged airlock. Tom addressed his team one last time before they entered. "Remember, we move slowly. We check everything. No heroics." The station's corridors were dark, lit only by emergency lights. The air was thick with a purple mist that swirled around their suits. Through their helmet cameras, the crew on the Prudence watched as the team methodically made their way toward the command center. "Life signs ahead," Lisa reported over the comm. 3 signatures, all weak. They found the survivors huddled in a sealed lab. 2 humans and 1 Tellurian, all wearing makeshift breathing masks. Their eyes widened at the sight of the rescue team. "You came," said one, a human woman with a scientist's badge reading Dr. Helen Gray. No one else responded. "What happened here?" Tom asked as Anna checked their vital signs. "We were studying an ancient device," Dr. Gray explained weakly. "The Verac scientist insisted on activating it before we completed all safety protocols. He said we were being too human, too cautious." "Where is he now?" "Dead, along with anyone else who displayed aggressive behavior. The weapon, it targets certain neural patterns. The more aggressive the species, the faster it affects them." Tom shared a look with his team. "That's why we're the only ones who could come here." Dr. Gray nodded tiredly. "The galaxy mocks human caution, but it saved your lives today. And ours. As they prepared the survivors for transport, a message came through from the Prudence. "Commander," Jack's voice was urgent. "We're detecting a ship approaching at high speed. It's Verax." Tom frowned. Why would they come now? Dr. Gray's eyes widened. The weapon. They want the weapon. Suddenly, the station's dangers were only beginning. But unlike the aggressive species now approaching, the humans had something special. The patience to think before they acted. "Get everyone to the ship," Tom ordered calmly. "We're not done being cowards yet." "Verax's ship will reach us in 20 minutes. Jack's voice came through the comm. "They're not responding to hails." Tom looked at the 3 survivors they had found. "We need to move quickly. Are there more people alive on this station?" Dr. Helen Gray nodded weakly. "Central Lab. 5 more researchers sealed themselves in when the outbreak started. That's on the other side of the station," Lisa said, checking the station map. The Brawltech commander's voice came over the comm. "Leave them, human. The Verax will be here soon. Save yourselves." Tom ignored him. "Anna, get these 3 back to the ship. Jack, prepare for emergency departure if needed. Lisa, Marcus, you're with me." The team split up. As Anna helped the survivors toward the airlock, Tom led the others deeper into the station. The purple mist grew thicker around them. "Visuals are degrading," Marcus reported. "Our suits are holding, but the sensors are having trouble." "Stay close," Tom ordered. "We check each corridor before advancing." Other species would have rushed through, racing against the approaching Verax ship. The humans moved steadily, methodically, safely. "Life signs ahead," Lisa announced as they reached a sealed door marked Central Laboratory. Tom pressed the comm panel. "This is Commander Wilson of the Earth vessel Prudence. We're here to rescue you." A pause, then a tired voice answered. "Can't open the door. Air filtration failing. Can't risk contamination." "Marcus, can you override?" Tom asked. The engineer studied the control panel. "It's locked from the inside. They're protecting us." Tom thought for a moment. Dr. Gray said the weapon targets aggressive brain patterns. "We need to prove we're not a threat." He turned to the door. "We're going to sit down right here until you believe we're safe." Lisa looked at him in surprise. "Sir, the Verax are aggressive and will be affected by the weapon. We're not. That's our advantage." The 3 humans sat down in the corridor, their backs against the wall. To any other species, it would look like surrender, like weakness. "We're not leaving," Tom said to the door. "We'll wait as long as it takes." Minutes passed. The purple mist swirled around them. Tom's heart raced, but he controlled his breathing, staying calm. Finally, the door slid open a crack. A face peered out. "You're really human." "Last time I checked," Tom said with a gentle smile. "We have a ship docked and ready, but we need to hurry." Inside the lab were 5 more survivors, 3 humans, a Tellurian, and a Mavoni. All looked exhausted but alive. "The Mavoni scientist's calm nature saved her," explained one of the humans. "Everyone who panicked or became aggressive. The weapon targeted them first." As they prepared to leave, the Mavoni scientist pointed to a sealed container. "The weapon's control device. We can't leave it for the Verax." Tom nodded. "Marcus, can you secure it?" The engineer carefully packed the device in a specialized containment box. "Ready." "Commander," Jack's voice came urgently over the comm. "Verax ship 8 minutes out. They've launched boarding pods toward the station." Tom led the group back through the corridors, moving as quickly as safety allowed. The purple mist seemed to retreat from them, as if recognizing their non-aggressive nature. They were halfway to the airlock when a loud crash echoed through the station. "Verax boarding pod has breached the hull in Section 4, Lisa reported, checking her scanner. "That's between us and the ship," Marcus said. Tom thought quickly. "Alternative route through the maintenance tunnels. Follow me." They diverted through narrow tunnels that other species might have considered too slow, too cautious. Over the comm, They heard the Verax commander's harsh voice broadcasting throughout the station. Surrender the weapon technology immediately. Then screams. The Verax soldiers were encountering the purple mist. The human team reached the airlock just as Anna finished getting the first group of survivors aboard. Verax soldiers down, Jack reported. The weapon is affecting them severely, but their ship is powering weapons. Everyone aboard now, Tom ordered. Marcus, seal the airlock. Jack, prepare for immediate departure. As the Prudence disengaged from the station, they watched through the viewport as the Verax ship fired on its own boarding pods, trying to prevent contamination. Their aggression has turned against themselves, Lisa observed quietly. Tom nodded. Sometimes the bravest thing is to not fight at all. The Prudence pulled away, carrying survivors that no other species have been willing to save, and a weapon that only the cowards of the galaxy could safely handle. The ESV Prudence moved away from Research Station Delta 9 at what other species would consider a frustratingly slow pace. Inside the ship, Anna Torres worked in the medical bay, treating the survivors. The Mavoni scientist watched as Tom examined the weapon control device they had recovered. The Verax will pursue us, she said quietly. They've wanted this technology for years. Why? Tom asked, studying the ancient device through a containment field. Because it's the perfect weapon against their enemies, Dr. Gray explained, sitting up from her bed. It targets the very traits the Verax value most. Aggression, quick reaction, battle instinct. Lisa entered the medical bay with a data pad. I've analyzed the station logs. This wasn't an accident. She handed the pad to Tom. The weapon was deliberately activated. Tom scrolled through the data, his expression darkening. Sabotage. Marcus looked up from where he was repairing a panel. How? Who? A Verax scientist named Kren, Lisa said. He was working undercover at the station. He activated the device, then tried to escape. But he was affected first because of his aggressive nature. He died by his own weapon, the Tellurian survivor noted with sad logic. The Braltech commander, who had been silent until now, stepped forward. If the Verax want this weapon so badly, they must have plans beyond one station. Tom nodded. The logs show Kren transmitted data before the full outbreak. The Verax already have partial information about this weapon. They could be manufacturing it already, Jack said from the doorway. We need to warn the Galactic Council. Tom thought for a moment. We can't just send a transmission. The Verax have spies everywhere. So what do we do? Asked Marcus. The cautious, human thing. Exactly, Tom said with a slight smile. We hide our warning where only the careful will find it. For the next hour, the humans worked on their plan. Other species would have sent urgent, direct warnings, or rushed to the Council at maximum speed. The human approach was different. Encrypted message embedded in routine ship logs, Lisa explained. When transmitted to Earth Central, it will look like standard data. And we're sending identical files to 50 different locations, Jack added. The Verax can't intercept them all. Our people will know something is wrong when they see the triple confirmation tags, Tom said. It's a system we developed because we're so cautious, Anna finished with a smile. Paranoid, some would say, Tom corrected. The Mavoni scientist watched them with growing respect. You've turned what others mock into a strength. The Braltech commander paced the room. This is too slow. We should race to the Council, warn them directly, and lead the Verax right to us. Tom asked calmly. They're still following at a distance. The Braltech's scales flushed with frustration, but he couldn't argue with the logic. Dr. Gray studied the weapon control device. There's something you should know, Commander. This weapon wasn't just found. It was designed to be found. What do you mean? Tom asked. The ancient species that created it, they left it for someone to discover. The logs we recovered show text fragments suggesting they were looking for worthy successors. Worthy how? Asked Jack. The Tellurian survivor spoke up. The weapon does not just target aggression. It evaluates. It tests. A chill ran through the room. "You think this was all a test?" Marcus asked. "To see who would respond, who would survive." "Perhaps," the Tellurian said. "And perhaps only humans passed." Tom looked around at his crew, at the survivors they had rescued when no one else would try, at the weapon that only they could safely handle. "If this is a test," he said quietly, "then the galaxy has misunderstood us from the beginning. What they call our cowardice might be exactly what someone was looking for." Lisa looked up from her console. "Messages ready to transmit, Commander." "Send them," Tom ordered, "and then set course for the long way around to the Council. We're going to disappear for a while." "Running away again?" the Braltech asked, but without the mockery that would have been there before. "No," Tom replied. "Being unpredictable. Another human trait that might just save us all." As the messages went out, hidden in ordinary data, Tom realized that humanity's greatest weakness in the eyes of the galaxy might become its greatest defense against what was coming. "Verax warships closing, sir. 3 of them," Jack announced from his station. "They'd spotted us." 2 days had passed since the ESV Prudence left Research Station Delta 9. Their careful route through less traveled sectors had kept them hidden until now. Tom looked at the tactical display. 3 red dots approached their single blue one. Other species would have prepared for battle or flood at maximum speed. Tom did neither. "Reduced power output by 60%, he ordered. "Minimal life support, emergency systems only." "Sir?" Marcus questioned. "They're looking for a ship running at full power, trying to escape. Let's not be that ship." The crew quickly implemented his orders. The lights dimmed, and the hum of the engines quieted to a whisper. "Now, drift toward that debris field." Tom pointed to a cluster of destroyed ships and asteroids on the map. "That's risky," Lisa said. "Lots of jagged metal in there." Exactly why the Verax won't follow closely. They're too proud to risk their ships. The Prudence slowly moved into the field of wreckage, its minimal power signature blending with the background radiation. Through the viewport, they watched as pieces of broken ships floated past. "Verax ships are scanning the area," Jack reported. "They're staying outside the debris field." The Braltech commander watched with new respect. "Hiding. A coward's tactic, we would say." He paused. "But an effective one." "Sometimes not being seen is better than being the strongest," Tom replied. Anna entered the bridge. "Commander, the survivors are stable. The Mavoni scientist wants to speak with you about the weapon." In the science lab, the Mavoni showed Tom new information she had discovered. "The weapon isn't just a test," she explained, pointing to ancient symbols on the device. "It's a key." "A key to what?" Tom asked. "I believe it unlocks access to the Creator's technology. Advanced technology beyond anything in our galaxy." Before they could discuss further, the ship shuddered violently. "Bridge to Commander," Jack's voice came urgently over the comm. "The Verax are firing into the debris field, trying to flush us out." Tom rushed back to the bridge. Through the viewport, he could see energy beams cutting through the wreckage, creating new explosions. "They're destroying everything," Lisa reported. "No precision, just aggression." Tom watched as a Verax beam hit a piece of debris, causing it to spin toward a second Verax ship, damaging its hull. "They're hitting each other," Marcus noted. "Their aggression makes them careless," Tom said quietly. "Let's use that." Instead of fleeing, Tom had Marcus collect small pieces of debris using the ship's utility arms. Then he ordered a series of minor power fluctuations. "What are you doing?" the Braltech asked. "Creating ghosts," Tom replied. "Each power surge will look like a ship trying to hide. And these debris pieces will read as escape pods on their sensors." Lisa finished, understanding the plan. Soon, the Verax ships were firing in multiple directions, chasing sensor ghosts and phantom readings. In their aggressive pursuit, they damaged each other more than anything else. "Now release the probe," Tom ordered. A small unmanned probe shot from the Prudence, programmed to emit the same energy signature as their ship but at full power. Verax ships are pursuing the probe, Jack reported with a smile. All three of them. Tom waited until the warships were far enough away. Take us out of the debris field. Opposite direction, minimal power. As the Prudence slipped away, they watched on sensors as the Verax ships destroyed the probe, believing they had won. They see what they expect to see, Tom explained to the still surprised Braltech. They expect us to run or fight, so that's what they look for. And instead you disappeared, the alien said slowly. Used their strength against them. A very human approach, Tom agreed. Later, as the Prudence continued its careful journey toward Galactic Council space, the Braltech commander found Tom in the observation room. My people would never admit this, the alien said reluctantly. But your methods, they have merit. Tom smiled slightly. High praise from a Braltech. Do not expect it to become common, the alien warned, but without heat. Still, when we reach the council, I will speak of what I have witnessed. That humans are cowards? Tom asked. The Braltech's scales shifted in what might have been a smile. That sometimes, the turtle outlives the predator. The grand hall of the Galactic Council gleamed with polished stone and towering windows. Species from 100 worlds filled the chamber, their voices a mix of different languages. At the center stood Tom Wilson and his crew, waiting to address the council. The human delegation will now present their report, announced the Tellurian counselor. Tom stepped forward. Behind him stood his crew, the survivors from Research Station Delta 9, and surprisingly, the Braltech commander. Honorable Council, Tom began. We have uncovered a plot by the Verax Empire to weaponize ancient technology against rival species. Murmurs filled the hall. The Verax representative, tall and sharp-featured, stood up. These are lies, he shouted. Humans are known for their excessive caution and paranoia. They see threats where none exist. Tom remained calm. We have brought evidence, the weapon control device and data from the station. Lisa presented the findings, showing how the weapon targeted aggressive neural patterns. While she spoke, Marcus quietly moved among the human security staff, giving them specialized instructions. The Verax representative laughed. Even if such a weapon exists, it proves nothing about Verax involvement. Perhaps Tom agreed, surprising everyone. But the station logs clearly show. An alarm suddenly blared throughout the council chamber. Red lights flashed. Security breach, announced the automated system. Unknown biological agent detected. Panic erupted. Delegates rushed toward exits. Guards drew weapons. Only the humans remained calm. Their security personnel quickly moved to key positions, pulling out special breathing masks they had prepared just in case. Everyone remained calm. Tom called over the chaos. The human delegation has breathing filters for everyone. As masks were distributed, the Verax representative's communicator beeped. A message he clearly hadn't expected. His eyes widened. Now, he shouted suddenly. The doors burst open. Verax soldiers stormed in, weapons raised. They expected to find confusion and panic. Instead, they found humans calmly organizing the council members, providing protection. The humans predicted this, the Tellurian counselor realized. They prepared. Jack stepped forward with a small device. We detected the Verax ships approaching hours ago. We've been ready. The Verax soldiers fired. Their energy weapons should have caused destruction. Instead, the beams were absorbed by shield generators the humans had quietly installed around the chamber. More human caution, Lisa explained to the surprised council members. We set these up as soon as we arrived, just in case. The Braltech commander moved to Tom's side. Your kind never stops preparing for the worst, do you? It's a gift, Tom replied with a small smile. Council security forces, guided by the humans' careful preparation, quickly contained the Verax soldiers. The representative was arrested for the attempted coup. When order was restored, the Grand Counselor, a wise old Mavoni, addressed the chamber. "Today we have witnessed something remarkable," she said. "The very trait we mocked in humans, their caution, has saved this council from disaster." Tom stepped forward again. "The ancient weapon is part of something larger. We believe it was left as a test, to find species worthy of advanced knowledge. Not the strongest or most aggressive, but those with the wisdom to use power carefully." The Grand Counselor nodded. "Perhaps the galaxy has misunderstood humans from the beginning. What we called cowardice was prudence. What we saw as weakness was wisdom." In the days that followed, the Council passed new resolutions. Human safety protocols would be studied and implemented across galactic facilities. Human caution would be respected, not ridiculed. As the ESV Prudence prepared to return to Earth, Admiral Jones contacted Tom. "The Council has requested more human ships for diplomatic missions," she said. "Apparently, our cowardly approach is now considered valuable." Tom looked at his crew, who had saved lives and possibly the future of the galaxy, all because they were careful when others were reckless. "It seems the galaxy finally understands," he said. "Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is to stop and think before you act." As the Prudence departed, ships from many species flashed their lights in a new salute, one that honored not the fastest or the strongest, but the wisest. The cowards had become the heroes,